So welcome developers. So in this tutorial section, I will be teaching you guys what are classes and objects in Java. So we are making first steps in the object-oriented concepts of Java. Now, as you have seen in the last tutorial, you must have found come across an interesting word called class. So it's more or less correct to say that in every Java project there will be at least one class and one main method. So last section we studied what a method is. Now today we will study what a class is. Now just to make it simpler, a class is more like a data structure, or to say a data type, in which you can actually define various variables and methods. That is, a class is more like a data structure in which one can define various variables and methods. That is, by variables we mean the member variables of the class. To make it much more, to give you a better picture of what a class is, let us define a new class in this project. So to define a new class in this project, what we do is that we go to corresponding project. Our corresponding project name is tutorial, and then we right click on it, select new, and click on class, and you write the name of the class and you click finish. Then so I have already created a new class for you guys, that is Avengers. Now we have two classes. The first class name is data, the second class name is Avengers. Now, how do we define a class in Java? To define a class in Java, what we first do is that we need to write the access specifiers, which is public. Then we need to write class followed by the name of the class. So the class name which I now provided is Avengers. Now, in a project we have two classes. One is a class of name data, and the second is a class of name Avengers. Now, in the class Avengers, so basically, as I have told you guys, the class is more like a data type in which one can define various different variables and different methods, and these variables are referred to as member variables. So let us define some member variables and member methods in these classes, and we shall study the operation of classes. Then on doing so, you will get guys might get an idea of what this object-oriented concept is all about. Now let us create some member variables in classes. Now, so to create a variable, first you need to write the data type. So I'm creating a variable of string, a variable name, variable b of type name. Let me create a second variable, let be hero. So I have created two variables whose two variables name and hero, which are of data type string. And let me define one more method. So how to define a method? Simple. First you write the access specifier, the return type, then the name of the method that we want to say. The method we want to, which I'm going to define, is used to print something on screen. So therefore the name which I intend to use, print it, and I am passing. Okay, now let me pass two variables in it. Say string a, string b. So I have passed two variables. So last section we discussed what is parameter passing and all. Now to write the piece of code, since this dot out dot print, let us print a new line. Print say a plus concatenation is, let's provide some space around here, followed by another concatenation sign and b. So basically, so in a class called Avengers, we created the two member variables, this name and hero, which are string data type, and then we created a method which is called printed, and in which we are passing two parameters a and b. And what does this method does is that it will print it on the screen. It will print a whatever the values of a is b. So just to give a clear picture of you guys, now the second step, the next part is that we are gonna see how we are gonna call this Avengers class in the data class. So this is a data class, and we have the main activity already defined. And to call the Avengers class, to the data class, what we do is that we create instances of the Avengers class. So instance is a new word to you guys. Now how to create an instance of an Avengers class in data class? What you do is that first you write the name of the class Avengers, then provide it with a name, then you write a name of the instance which you want. Say the instance what I want, so I named it as Tony, and it's equal to write the variable new. So write the keyword, so not a variable, it's a keyword called new. Then you again write the class name followed by two round brackets. It's Avengers. So that's it. Now what we have actually done is we have created an object Tony, or to say an instance or an object whose name is Tony of the class Avengers. Now both the property of Tony is now Tony is an object, or it is an instance of Avengers class. That is, Tony as an object, it is independent and it will have the entire properties and characteristics of the class Avengers. That's whatever things are there in Avengers, that entire property will be present in Tony. For instance, if I now Tony, now if I write Tony dot, you can see various things popping up. So write name equals what name I want to provide, say Tony star. Now I write Tony dot, the second parameter name was hero. So I'm assigning, what I'm doing is that what I'm actually now doing now is that I'm providing a value to member variables of the Avengers class using the object Tony. Now Tony dot hero is what's here is an Iron Man. Iron Man. Now what I done is that I have assigned the values Tony Stark and Iron Man into the attributes of Avengers, which are name and hero. Now let me just perform the method. So as execute a variable method, we write Tony dot, sorry, the member method Tony dot, what is the name of the member method? It's print it, because if you remember properly, name of the method was print it, and we passed two variables. So print it. So we need to pass two variables, which will be Tony, hero, and Tony. So it will be name. Now if I just run the program, now you can see that Tony Stark is Iron Man is printed on the console. Now what do you guys want to understand here is that, see that we created, so we have created different attributes, or to say member variables in the Avengers class, which is name, hero, and a method called printIt. And in the data class, we created an instance of the Avengers class, an instance, or to say an object, Tony's object, and this Tony object will be independent and will have the entire properties of the Avengers class. And using this method Tony dot name, we assign the value Tony Stark, and the hero, and the hero variable was assigned Iron Man, and then we call the method called printIt. Now I hope you guys understand the concept of what to say these classes and calling of classes, etc. Now another concept which I want to discuss with you guys is the property of object. See, an object can store its own value and it can be independent of other objects. For instance, I can create another object here. So the object first, what I created was named as Tony. Now let's paste it here. Now I create another object whose name is Bruce. Now if I execute this program, you can see that this first Tony Stark assignment band result. Now what we done here is that we have created another instance called Bruce, which is of the class Avengers, and we done the same technique. Now if I replace, now to make it more funnier and to make it more convincing to you guys, let me replace Bruce here with Tony and let's see what happens here. See, Banner is Iron Man. So you can see that even though we define different instances from the same class itself, that object which we created, Tony and Bruce, they are independent of each other and they will not show, and the value stored will be stored in it. It will never can be altered. So that means it will never disappear as such. Just to show you the independency, I gave this example. Now I hope you guys understand the concept of what are classes and how to create an object from a class instance and the techniques involved in it. Now the next concept which I want to discuss is it's a bit is concept of getters and setters. See, the importance of getters and setters comes when see this code from this code of line. If you just visualize see this code, see there's a great possibility that you can simply uh, there's a chance that what to say of corruption of data. Okay, there will be a proper this code can easily be corrupted. That is, an unknown user can easily access this code. So as to make your code much more or less protected, or to say free from data corruption, we go for getters and setters. And this technique of setting getters and setters for variables is what we call encapsulation. So how will so encapsulation basically done for protection purposes? And how will you go? How will you write an encapsulation code? Now to do encapsulation, first of all you go to your class, particular class what you need. You go to a particular variable, you right click it. Sorry, go to a particular variable. Then you go to source. Then you click on generate getters and setters. Click select all. Then click OK. So what it does is that, as you can see, the our Java IDE, so the Eclipse IDE has created a certain number of methods. So if you just see, it has generated a method called getName, setName, getHero, and setHero. So what it does is that the getName is that it gets the name. This method is used to get the name and it returns the value name itself. So I have discussed with you the importance of return in our last section. So we have a method called getName, which is returning a value of string data type and can be of public and can be accessed publicly. Now to make it more clear, I will show you another example. Now let me create another instance. This time let it be equal to new. Okay. Now since we create the getter and the setter, now using getters and setter methods, let us assign a value to the attributes name and hero. So to do so, what you write, first of all you write the corresponding object or instance, then write set name and pass the parameter which you want to set. Say the parameter which we want to set is Rogers, and Steve dot set hero should be cap. That done. Now to execute the print statement, writes print dot print it. Then the variable to be passed to A is Steve dot get name, and to B is Steve dot set name. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's get name. No variables to be passed. Okay, so that's it. If you just run the program, yes. Oh, it's get hero by the way. You just run the name. If you just run the program, yes, Rogers is captain. So guys, you see what this encapsulation is and what is the importance of getters and setter methods in Java. So therefore, I see the more use like Tony.name is equal stack. That's correct. Or you write Steve was set name is Rogers. That is also correct. See, both the methods provide the same result, but the issue is that by using encapsulation techniques, by defining getter and setter methods, you can make your code more or less protected and free from data corruptions, and we can avoid access to unknown users. So that's it, guys. So in this tutorial section, we studied the basic concept of what a class is, what an object is, what is data encapsulation, etc. And I hope you guys understood what are basic concepts of the same itself. And in the next tutorial section, we study what is a class constructor. Following the tutorial sections, you will be studying the importance of these public access specifiers and uh, the final keyword final. So therefore, that's all for now today. I hope you like this video. Now provide a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.